How's it going, guys? We're back again with the commands of Christ, and today we're starting a new series called Religion versus Relationship. And what that's about is the concept. I mean, Jesus said that you honor me with your lips, but your hearts are far from me. And he told the Pharisees that they had traded out the commands of God to uphold the traditions of men. And so a part of, coming into a relationship with Jesus and having a lot of experience in organized religion, seeing hypocrisy and two-facedness and exactly what he was talking about there. And, the point is, do we have a relationship with Jesus Christ, or do we have a relationship with religion? And what's the difference? When looking at the commands of Christ from that perspective, things start to really become interesting, because you see him call us to higher levels. He wants us to abandon everything because he's a jealous God. So is it possible that religion itself can get in his way? Is it possible that the love for religion or the need for religion can substitute God? Are we being trained to trade God for religion? And this is a question that's not going to be answered in one day, or I think even in a series of videos. It's going to take some time, and I didn't want to rush through this. And the whole point of this is to learn more about Jesus, to learn more about the commands of Christ, and to understand the dynamics of what God's expectations are for us. And just learning more about him and how to get closer to Jesus Christ. And so today, what I wanted to talk about, we've done this command before. It's honor marriage, and it's found in Matthew chapter 19. One of the reasons I picked this video is because recently I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different types of individuals about this subject. And it's just really interesting to hear the perspectives from the religious side, from the spiritual side, and from the non-spiritual side. So both from the religious side and spiritual side, both of these folks think that marriage should be honored. But what's interesting is the qualifications for marriage. We could get lost in that. In the religious side, it's, is she saved? Is he saved? Because they have to. The two people have to be saved, and I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, yes, I've read John chapter 3 when Jesus was having a conversation with Nicodemus about being born again. I understand that, but I find it to be extremely arrogant for people to tell God what he's going to do. I think he ultimately makes those decisions. And so I think it's ridiculous. I think that you look at the calling that God has to us, to himself. You look in the earliest days in the Old Testament, where if you go outside the camp, you had problems. An example of that is King Solomon. He decided that he was going to take on concubines in other areas because apparently he must have betrothed every virgin in a 10,000-mile radius, and there were none left to marry. So, he had to go into neighboring towns. I mean, I wish I was joking when I say that, but I think he seriously married every available virgin that wasn't maimed, crippled, blind, or lame. So, anyway. So you see these folks have problems in that scenario, going outside the camp, so to speak, or being unequally yoked, as mentioned in the New Testament. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But this mainly is taken from the standpoint of a judgment. So two people are trying to get married, they're in a church, and they have to go through this counseling and everything, and they go through this vigorous counseling for 6 to 9 months, And, the pastor decides that he's going to go ahead and marry them, and the marriage lasts for 5 months. So, why? A divorce rate at 90%, 90%? Really? And this is all done properly. This is all the right ways. Everything's right. And then you hear these stories of people that never got married, the way that we think of it, and they last for 20, 30 years. I heard of one account that people were with each other for 40 years and they got married and it ended. Crazy. So what we're looking at today is this scripture in Matthew 19. So we'll go to Matthew 19 real quick. Give me 1 second. I wish I could memorize all this stuff, but I can't. So he's teaching out of the Old Testament, which he did a lot. Jesus taught mainly out of Deuteronomy. Haven't you read, this is in verse 4, haven't you read that he who made them from the beginning made them male and female? For this cause man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So that they are no more two, but one. What therefore God has joined together, don't let men tear apart. And so the Pharisees ask him, why did Moses command us to give her a certificate of divorce and divorce her? And he said, because of the hardness of your hearts, he allowed you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning it has not been so. I tell you that whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another commits adultery, and he who marries her when she is divorced commits adultery. So you look at this, and you see how he shuts this down. Now, it was permitted in Deuteronomy, and there's a lot going on here. Why is this permitted in Deuteronomy? He said because of the hardness of their hearts. So when you look back, and we're going to read some of this because I have the Old Testament scripture in here, but you could see that they would marry the woman, and they could accuse her of not being virgin, or they could just, what, I decided I don't like this, I don't want it, like it's a painting, or like it's a car they bought, and they just don't like it, they're just going to get rid of it. So for whatever reason, Moses decided that he was going to go ahead and permit that, and Jesus shuts that down and says, no, that doesn't work. We're not doing that. So a truly spiritual, real, raw relationship within Jesus Christ is going to have the foundational things to hold it together. These are people that are going to seek Jesus. These are people that are going to go to him in prayer, that are going to seek him in everything that they have together. It makes sense. He says the two become one. Yes, they're both joined to him. So the question is, does God determine does God bring these two people together for them to be a team within him and work for him? Does he choose this? Or do they choose it? Because I have personal experience, and I know people have personal experience when they choose the person, and it fails, man. It fails. It's unequally yoked. It doesn't matter if they go to church or not. It doesn't matter if they profess Jesus Christ or not. I don't care if they've been baptized. I don't care if they read the Bible every day. I don't care if they meditate. I don't care if they journal. I don't care. It does not mean that they're of the same spirit. It does not mean that they are like you. It doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean that he wants them with you. So we see this in every other respect of our life. Followers try to, like little children, they stomp their foot on the ground and they want their way because they think they know better than their father does. Wrong. We don't know better. He knows what's best for us. He knows what's going to work, and it doesn't always look like it. Doesn't always look like it's going to work. But it's the most amazing thing you'll ever see in your entire life. And he chose it. So he brings the two together, and no one can separate that. Now, when you look and see, when she dies or he dies, they're free at that point, and they're able to move on. But while they're still alive, there's no hanky-panky, there's no sexual immorality, there's no fornication, and even that's something we need to define and make clear here today, because there's a vast misconception of what these things are. Anyway, guys, we thank you for tuning in to Saints, Priests, and Watchmen today, and I hope that this honor marriage video was a blessing to you. And if you guys know anyone that could benefit from hearing our videos, please share them with them. There's a lot of hurting people out there that could really use encouragement. And as always, we don't ask for anything from you except your support. We don't want your money, nothing like that. Just for you to tune in and engage with us. Send us messages and talk to us. We've been getting a lot of comments, and we're really grateful for the correspondence. And we are on Facebook, Saints, Priests, and Watchmen, shorter version videos, as well as YouTube for the full version. And we ask that you like, share, and subscribe to show your support. Have a great day.